Living with diabetes means you hear a lot of advice, and eat your veggies is probably right up there at the top. It's good advice mostly. But when you're trying to keep your blood sugar steady, the world of vegetables gets a bit trickier. Have you ever put together what felt like a perfectly healthy meal, only to see your glucose numbers jump higher than expected? It happens. The reality is, some vegetables can act more like sugar spikers than health boosters because they're packed with carbs or have a high glycemic index, GI. Knowing which ones to watch out for can make a huge difference in finding that blood sugar balance you're working towards. So, let's talk about 7 vegetables that folks managing diabetes might want to eat less of, or even skip altogether. Number 1, potatoes, the starch powerhouse. Ah, potatoes. They're everywhere. Mashed, baked, boiled, fried, a real comfort food favorite. But if you're managing diabetes, potatoes can be a real hurdle. Why? It boils down to starch. Potatoes are loaded with starch, and while starch is a complex carb, the kind in potatoes breaks down into sugar incredibly fast once you eat it. This quick conversion means your blood sugar can shoot up pretty quickly and significantly, which is exactly what you're trying to avoid. The glycemic index tells the same story. Depending on the type and how they're cooked, white potatoes usually have a high GI, often somewhere between 78 and 86. High GI foods get digested fast, causing those big swings in blood sugar and insulin. Even sweet potatoes, which sometimes get a better rap, are still quite starchy and have a moderate to high GI, meaning you still need to be careful with how much you eat. How you cook them changes things slightly, but maybe not enough. Boiling might give a slightly lower GI than baking, but both still serve up a high-carb, high GI food. And French fries? They often double the trouble, bringing lots of fat into the mix along with the starchy potato, making blood sugar even harder to manage and adding worries about heart health. Some studies even hint that eating a lot of potatoes, especially fried ones, might be linked to a higher risk of type 2 diabetes. Does this mean no potatoes ever again? Not necessarily. But cutting way back, keeping portions tiny if you do indulge, and maybe swapping them out most of the time is a smart move. Think about mashed cauliflower, steamed broccoli, roasted radishes, or even zucchini noodles. They can give you satisfying textures without sending your blood sugar on a roller coaster. Number 2, corn, the deceptive grain. Corn is one of those foods that feels like it should be perfectly fine. It's bright, sometimes sweet, enjoyed right off the cob or tossed into salads. Is it a vegetable? Is it a grain? Diet-wise, it kind of acts like both. And for diabetics, it's the carbs and sugar impact we need to focus on. Corn does give you some fiber and nutrients, but it also delivers a hefty dose of carbohydrates. Just half a cup of corn kernels has about 21 grams of carbs. That's a lot if you're counting. On top of that, corn's glycemic index isn't super low. It's typically in the moderate to high range, around 52-60. This means it can definitely nudge your blood sugar upwards, especially if you eat more than a small amount. That natural sweetness comes from sugars and starches that turn into glucose pretty readily in your system. It's easy to overdo it too. Think about a whole ear of corn or generous scoops in a casserole, and watch out for corn in processed forms. Corn syrup is a huge source of hidden sugar in countless foods and drinks. Corn flakes or other corn cereals, they can send blood sugar soaring because they're heavily processed and stripped of fiber. Even plain old whole kernel corn needs to be handled with care in a diabetic meal plan. Portion size is everything here. If corn is on the menu, measure out a small serving, maybe stick to that half cup, and make sure you're eating it alongside lean protein and healthy fats to help slow down that sugar release. Want some lower carb swaps that still add color and crunch? Load up on leafy greens like spinach or kale, slice up some bell peppers, toss in mushrooms, or snap some fresh asparagus. Number 3, peas, the starchy legume. Those little green peas often seem like such an innocent, healthy addition to a meal. They're green, they're small, they're technically legumes. But compared to many other green veggies, Peas carry a surprisingly high carbohydrate count. A single cup of cooked green peas can contain somewhere around 20-21 grams of carbs. Yes, they have some fiber and protein, but because they're quite starchy, they affect your blood sugar more than, say, broccoli or spinach does. It helps to think of peas as being a bit more like corn or potatoes in terms of carbs, rather than grouping them with leafy greens. That starch breaks down into glucose after you eat, which can raise your post-meal blood sugar numbers. If you're working hard to keep your glucose levels steady, large servings of peas can make that job tougher. They are nutritious, offering vitamins like K and C, but you just can't ignore their carb content when planning your meals for diabetes management. So, do you have to say goodbye to peas forever? Probably not, but you definitely need to be mindful. Treat them like a carb source, not just a simple green veggie. Measure your portion, maybe aim for half a cup, and think about how those carbs fit into your meal's total budget. Eating them with plenty of non-starchy veggies and some lean protein can also help. If you want that satisfying green element without as many carbs, reach for green beans, string beans, broccoli florets, asparagus, zucchini, spinach, or even snap peas. They offer great texture and nutrients with fewer carbs per bite, letting you fill up without the same blood sugar worry. Number 4. Butternut squash, the sneaky sugar source. Who doesn't love the comforting taste and texture of winter squashes, especially when the weather cools down? Butternut squash is a popular one. Great roasted, blended into soups, or added to stews. It gives you a nice dose of vitamins A and C, but it's also quite a bit higher in carbs than many other vegetables. A cup of cooked butternut squash has about 16 grams of net carbs. That's total carbs minus the fiber. It does have some fiber, but the carb load is high enough that it can definitely raise blood sugar, especially if you eat a large portion. Compared to its summer cousins like zucchini or yellow squash, butternut squash simply contains more starch. This difference accounts for its higher carb count and its bigger impact on your glucose levels. If you're following a very low-carb plan or need really tight blood sugar control, you'll want to limit butternut squash or measure it out very carefully. That naturally sweet taste is your clue. It signals the presence of carbs that your body will turn into sugar. If you really enjoy that cozy winter squash vibe, just be smart about serving sizes. Measure out your portion, maybe half to 3/4 of a cup is a good starting point, and make sure the rest of your plate is balanced with protein and lots of non-starchy greens. Looking for lower carb alternatives that are still versatile? Zucchini and yellow summer squash are fantastic options, much lower in carbs. Spaghetti squash is another winner, giving you those fun noodle-like strands. And don't forget eggplant. It offers a hearty texture with fewer carbs, fitting nicely into diabetic-friendly cooking. Number 5. Beetroot, the naturally sugary root. Beets, or beetroot, catch the eye with their stunning color and have an earthy flavor some people love. They get health points for things like nitrates, good for blood pressure, folate, and manganese. But when you're managing diabetes, you also need to consider their natural sugar content. Compared to most other veggies, especially the non-starchy ones, beets contain quite a bit more natural sugar. It's not added sugar, of course, but your body still turns it into glucose, which affects your blood sugar. Let's look at the numbers. A cup of cooked beets has around 13 grams of carbs, and about 9 of those grams are sugar. They do offer some fiber, roughly 3 to 4 grams per cup, but that sugar amount is worth noting. For some people, eating a lot of beets or drinking beet juice, which is super concentrated sugar without the fiber, can cause noticeable swings in blood sugar. Pickled beets can be tricky too, as the brine often contains added sugar. So, are beets completely off the table? Maybe not entirely, but think moderation and context. A few slices of roasted beet in a large salad might be okay for some, especially if the meal includes protein and healthy fats. But making beets a major part of your vegetable intake, or eating large servings regularly, could make controlling your blood sugar harder. If you like that earthy taste or need that pop of color, try radishes for a peppery crunch, red cabbage for vibrant color with fewer carbs, or just double down on leafy greens like kale, Swiss chard, or crisp lettuce. These give you plenty of nutrients without packing the same sugar punch. Number 6, vegetable juice, the fiberless trap. It seems like such a healthy move, right? Grabbing a bottle of vegetable juice feels like an easy way to get your 5 a day. The marketing often paints them as pure health in a bottle. But for people managing diabetes, relying on veggie juice can actually backfire. The biggest issue is what gets left behind during juicing: the fiber. Fiber is a superhero for blood sugar control. It slows everything down: how quickly you digest carbs and how fast the resulting sugar hits your bloodstream. This leads to a much gentler rise in blood glucose. Take away the fiber, like juicing does, and you're left with the vegetable's carbs and natural sugars in a concentrated liquid form. This hits your system fast and hard, causing a quick spike in blood sugar, almost like drinking fruit juice or even soda. Just 1 cup of vegetable juice can easily have 15-20 grams of carbs, sometimes more, with hardly any fiber to slow things down. And that's not all. Many bottled vegetable juices have fruit juice blended in for sweetness, adding even more sugar. Some might have added sweeteners or a surprising amount of salt, sodium. Always read the labels carefully, but honestly, even pure 100% vegetable juice is missing that crucial fiber element. What's the better approach? Eat your vegetables whole: raw, steamed, roasted, grilled. However you enjoy them, eating the whole vegetable gives you the complete package: vitamins, minerals, and that all-important fiber that helps you feel full and keeps blood sugar more stable. If you're thirsty, water, unsweetened herbal tea, or clear broth are much better choices. Number 7, yams and Colocasia, Taro, the hidden high-carb roots. Yams and Colocasia, which you might know as taro or arbi, are starchy root vegetables that are staples in many cuisines around the globe. They provide energy and nutrients, absolutely, but they are very high in carbohydrates, right up there with potatoes, which makes them a real challenge if you have diabetes. Both yams and taro tend to have a moderate to high glycemic index and pack a serious carb punch. For instance, a single cup of cooked taro can contain close to 40 grams of carbohydrates. Yams are similarly loaded. Eating these root vegetables, especially in the generous portions often served in traditional meals, can cause major spikes in your blood sugar after eating. Because they're so starchy, they break down into glucose very quickly once digested. While they are culturally important foods for many, people with diabetes really need to be cautious about how much, if any, they include in their diet. If you do choose to eat them, strict portion control is non-negotiable. Think very small amounts, and make sure the rest of your meal is heavy on non-starchy vegetables and lean protein to help lessen the blood sugar impact. Looking for root vegetables that are a bit kinder to blood sugar? Options like celery root, celeriac, radishes, turnips, or rutabaga, Swede, generally have a lower GI and fewer carbs per serving, but even these are best eaten in moderation. For the most reliable blood sugar control, focusing on vegetables that grow above ground and are low in starch is usually the safest bet. Practical tips for managing vegetable choices. Okay, so we know which veggies need a cautious approach, but managing your choices doesn't have to feel restrictive. It's more about smart strategies. First off, remember that portion control applies to all foods with carbs, including the starchy vegetables we've talked about. Know your serving sizes. Second, try not to eat higher carb veggies all by themselves. Always pair them with some lean protein, like chicken, fish, beans, or tofu, and healthy fats. Think avocado, nuts, olive oil. Plus, load up on non-starchy veggies too. This combination really helps slow down how quickly the sugar enters your bloodstream. Third, make those non-starchy, high-fiber vegetables the main event on your plate whenever possible. Fill up on things like spinach, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, bell peppers, cucumbers, green beans, and asparagus. They're nutritional powerhouses without the heavy carb load. Lastly, get in the habit of reading nutrition labels, especially for anything canned or frozen, to check for sneaky added sugars or salt. And of course, the best advice is always personalized. Talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian to figure out the best eating plan for your specific health needs. Smart swaps for instant sugar balance. Getting a handle on your blood sugar is definitely a journey, and knowing how different foods affect your body is one of the most powerful tools you have. We often hear, eat more vegetables, and while that's true, we've seen it's not quite that simple when diabetes is in the picture. Recognizing that potatoes, corn, peas, starchy squashes like butternut, beets, vegetable juices, and high-carb roots like yams and taro can really push your glucose levels up allows you to make smarter choices day to day. It comes down to being aware of carbs and the glycemic index, keeping an eye on portions, and really leaning into all those wonderful non-starchy, high-fiber veggies. Making simple swaps, like choosing cauliflower mash instead of potatoes, or munching on green beans instead of loading up on peas, puts you back in the driver's seat. These informed decisions add up, helping you achieve more stable blood sugar, feel better, and manage your diabetes more effectively. You've got this. Did you find this breakdown helpful for figuring out your veggie choices? If so, please feel free to share it with friends or family who might also find it useful. We'd love to hear from you too. Do you have any questions about these vegetables, or maybe tips from your own experience managing them? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts.